Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 18 of Code Geass. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So at this point, the cat is sort of out of the bag. I mean, at this point, Lelouch and basically everyone else of consequence knows that Suzaku is the pilot of the Lancelot, and, while we haven't really seen the consequences yet, it's certainly hitting Lelouch. He was sort of, comatose almost, and then, suffered a severe laughing fit. So there's a lot of open items, really, because on the one hand, Euphemia has chosen Suzaku as her knight, which I'm given to understand is like an honorary champion, but I get the feeling he's going to have to do some practical things. And, Lelouch, and by extension the Order of the Black Knights, know about Suzaku now. So the question is, what do they do? Right now, Lelouch is more interested in reorganization, which, I guess it makes sense considering how big the Order has grown, but, I feel like a big thing working on Suzaku's side was the fact that he was unknown. Essentially, if nobody knows he's the pilot, then that's, plausible deniability isn't the right term, but, there's a bit of safety that goes with that anonymity. Because, now that the Order knows who he is, what's to stop Lelouch from sending, a couple goons to break his knees? Suppose that happened. Can you really pilot if you're, in the traction ward? And, maybe Lelouch wouldn't necessarily do that, but, I would think for Suzaku, he should certainly be concerned about something like that being the case. So it seems like he's put a fair degree of thought into all this organization to the point where, there's a flowchart organizing people in squads. I guess you do have to do it once you get to a certain size, but yeah, I don't know. It all seems very formal for what is essentially a ragtag group of rebels. So there's that Dieter guy. There's talk of him being a traitor, and he's being placed seemingly high up, but now he's asking questions. There are a lot of questions regarding him, and relatively few answers. And I guess speaking of answers, we're finally seeing what happens here. Understandably, as in 11, there are a lot of Britannians who don't feel too happy about Suzaku being knighted like this. I guess for him, this is certainly a step up, considering the prestige associated with the position, but man. Ooh. That's an interesting little gesture there. Like, I guess this is like how you get knighted, but to hold the sword as he did. You know, I guess that really is a display of fealty. Now, I guess the real question is, what sort of stuff do you get for being a knight? Because I feel like, Suzaku would not be one to immediately start taking advantage of his new position. You know, there's got to be a good deal of prestige and social standing, I guess, that comes with this. I mean, there is also the issue that he is merely an honorary Britannian, being an 11. You know, I guess maybe I overstated things. There doesn't seem to be as much clout as one would think. I mean, like, everyone has to be goaded into clapping. That's, man. It's a real Jeb Bush, please clap moment. Oh, boy. Okay, so yeah, like, here we go. You know, Dieter is suggesting that Suzaku be assassinated, which, you know, I guess that was sort of going along with my line of thinking, but the idea is that as an 11 and one who's rising through the ranks, you know, he's a good symbol for the status quo, essentially, that, you know, things can change and improve, they don't have to go back to the way things were, and, you know, it's understandable they would want him out of the way, but I guess it sort of contradicts the ethos of the Black Knights. You know, they don't want to kill the innocent. At least not deliberately. So I guess the idea is, you know, assassination should be off the board, right? But, you know, that doesn't mean they can't destroy his reputation. You know, character assassination and all of that. Although Lelouch is unwilling to kill him, unwilling to use the Geass on him. And, you know, I can't blame Lelouch because, like, I mean, he's already crossed a lot of lines at this point, but this is another one that he seems more unwilling to cross than all the others thus far. So I guess the question is, what does he do? Because it seems to me that character assassination is the only way. You know, you'd have to essentially disgrace him pretty heavily, like to the point of life ruination, you know? Otherwise, I don't know how you could adequately do it, seeing as how Suzaku is so, I guess, determined to do what he thinks is best. So now we see the Emperor here. We haven't seen much of him, and he's being all cryptic, so it seems to me that things are going on in the background that we don't really know about just yet. And in all likelihood, they're not good. You know, there was mention of a challenger. Oh, forget that. There's Pizza Hut. That's more important. Really, what is a party in Code Geass if you don't have a nice stack of Pizza Hut to accompany you, really? Oh. Oh boy, this is, oh dear, what is this girl's name? I don't recall. She was the one who's abusing poor Mr. Table. And, it seems to me that with Euphemia having chosen a knight, this is like, I guess encroaching upon her imagined territory, for want of a better term. So interestingly, she seems to be like a nuclear chemist. You know, all this talk about uranium-235. Yeah, you know, that seems like a bit of a plot hook right there. Like, she's messing around with uranium-235, and I do believe uranium-235 is fissionable, which is to say, you know, if you smack it with a neutron, it will in turn split. And, not to put too fine a point on it, but splitting the atom is a very dangerous thing for the fact that it produces more energy than it takes to split. Ooh. Okay, so Callan, she was prepared to just shank Suzaku at a party. That's Ooh boy. I mean, good on Lelouch for stopping her. In no small part because he has a vested interest in this not happening, but... Man. You know, Suzaku doesn't seem to be aware that, like, assassins have him in their targets. But, whoa, buddy. He would do well to be a bit more careful. Oh. Wow, so that Lloyd guy, he has a fiancé and everything, so, Huh. I mean, this seems to be a big surprise for everyone. Man. So I guess that's rather unfortunate for Lelouch's friend there. He seems to have missed the boat, I suppose. Alright, so that's interesting. You know, he wasn't here to disturb the plot, but more to remind Suzaku that, like, hey, Euphemia's doing something in public, that means you gotta be there. And something tells me this might be the site of another little scuffle. Because if Kallen was prepared to just stab Suzaku in the middle of a party, something tells me other elements of the Black Knights would be willing to try and pop him off at, you know, any sort of a public event. Ooh, yeah. So Zero's already latched onto this. You know, it's going to be like a heavily, or rather a lightly defended thing since it's of no strategic value, but, you know, you can basically, like, drop in and, like, dab on everyone. And I guess Zero's saying, like, look, if we capture Suzaku, like, leave that to me. Like, none of you guys get any ideas. Because you just know some of these people would be a little too keen to not take prisoners alive. It's also interesting that they're on a submarine, because, like, I'm not quite sure where that came from. Probably from Rakshata. I think that was her name. But, ooh. Yeah, so, Dietert is doing things without permission. Which, you know, it really points to him being kind of untrustworthy or traitorous. I mean, he does have a point, but he's also sort of acting outside of his remit, you know? I feel like Lelouch would be well within his rights to just lay down the law with this guy, like, hey man, knock it off. Oh, that's right, this guy's a journalist, that's why he's untrustworthy. Man. Silly me. You know, I was thinking, like, maybe there's something to this guy not being a traitor, maybe it's all bait, but no, like... Yeah, like, there's no universe in which Lelouch should trust this guy. He is a snake. I mean, he's saying, like, isn't journalism something created in the minds of people? It's like, you're admitting your whole profession is lying to everyone. I mean, honestly, Lelouch should just, like, ask that guy to, like, open the hatch and swim to the surface. Man, so they're just briefing, like, security, and just like that, they immediately get attacked. Whoa, buddy. See, this is why you don't tempt fate. Especially because, you know, even though Suzaku's there, presumably with the Lancelot, like, he's gonna be outnumbered how many to 1? And he wasn't faring pretty well the last time either. I feel like if Lelouch knows what's going on, he'll be able to plan accordingly, and they can, disable the Lancelot and take him prisoner. Like, this isn't gonna be good. And I guess into the bargain he might be able to kidnap Euphemia, who would be... I mean, all things considered, perhaps, like, the biggest bargaining chip imaginable. Because, I mean, like, she's not a combatant. Like, Cornelia is one thing, she is the Governor General, but, like, she also puts herself on the front line. You know, Euphemia is... I guess, more of a civilian, really. And I guess thinking about it like that, it would also maybe be a public black eye. You know, it's like, ooh, those mean black knights are picking on poor Euphemia. You know, at least Cornelia could stand up to them in a fair fight, but, man, things are getting interesting. It's also rather telling that Suzaku's taken a hot minute to hop in the landslot. You know, time is definitely of the essence here. He would definitely be able to be more effective if he were to get into the thick of things before all of his allies are downed. I mean, at this point, I don't know. I'm not too certain he's going to be able to get out of this. Especially seeing as how they now have a plan. Like, it seems pretty obvious that they're just kind of baiting him and, like, I don't know, what do you do about that? You know, you are the knight of the crown princess or what have you. Like, it's not a good look to just stay back and do nothing. I mean, at least Suzaku's thinking somewhat tactically that some of this stuff doesn't quite add up, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this easily. I guess especially seeing as how Lelouch was willing to use himself as bait. I guess when you think about it, when you jump in like a big pit in the sand like that, maybe you should think twice. Because sure, they didn't like cave in the pit and bury him, but they, I guess they detonated like a localized EMP or something, which, you know, they caught Lelouch in the crossfire too, but, Lelouch also has like a dozen allies on his side. It's also telling that Lelouch is sort of relying on Suzaku being reasonable. It's like, hey, you know, we're not gonna gun you down immediately, so like, let's talk, you know? But, that the threat is there is also important. I mean, it's more of a bluff than anything, because I don't think Lelouch would actually order his death. Oh. Okay. So Lloyd recognizes this technology that he knows Rakshata is involved is interesting. So I guess the question is Lelouch really just gonna talk him out of this? Oh. He might bring up, killing the Prime Minister. Well, no, hold on. No, that would be stupid to do. That would give up his identity, right? Huh. Okay. Alright. Oh, no, he's twisting the knife. Like, yeah, whoever killed the Prime Minister is at fault here. And he's saying that knowing that Suzaku did it. Ooh, that's cold. Saying, like, essentially, like, yeah, you have all these beliefs and ideals, but they're built on a foundation of sand, essentially. Oh, that's cunning. You know, that's way better than what I thought, saying, like, hey, I know you killed the Prime Minister. Like, you don't have to give up that information. So I guess, understandably, Suzaku's shaken, but I don't know if he's really gonna go for it. And I guess I'm wondering if Lelouch is really, really unwilling to use the Geass, because, man, that would be helpful right now. Oh. That's something for the military to, you know, launch missiles on his position. See, I mean, it'd be one thing if he called in the airstrike himself, but the idea is that they want to kill Zero at all costs. And I guess, Suzaku's willing to die if need be. Which, you know, that's something, alright, but, now this is an interesting position where I guess Euphemia and Lloyd would be vested in not having this happen. regardless of how tactically sound it is. Ooh. Oh, okay, so this is a wedge right here. Cornelia ordered this, and Euphemia can't countermand her initially. So it seems like she's just taking matters into her own hands. Which, it's seeming like I might be right. Euphemia might become a hostage. Now, that'd be really something, especially considering that Cornelia set this, this particular event into motion. So I guess now they really just have to bluff it, I'm pretty sure neither of them really want to die. Man. So I guess the question is, does anyone give up here, or do they all hold to their ideals till the end? I feel like somebody's gonna have to break, right? Surely if Euphemia gets involved, they would have to stop, right? Call off the missiles? I mean, maybe there's only so much they can do, right? Or you know what? Maybe worst case scenario is the missiles do land to a degree on Euphemia's kill, but everyone else, or most everyone else, survives. That would be something. But it seems like something else entirely. A new third option has occurred. Someone else has decided to intervene. Schneisel's Avalon, they call it. And that was the name mentioned by the Emperor, who was a potential challenger, as he put it. So I'm getting the feeling that this guy is no good, I guess, for want of a better term. To challenge the Emperor, it seems to me, is no mean thing. Man, so, if the airstrikes weren't enough, surely whatever that laser is, it's gotta be just as bad, right? Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.